today is going to be a reading vlog, and the books that I'm reading, apart from one of them, are near to the end, so I'm going to be finishing quite a few today. And then I'm reading, well, not reading, I don't class this as reading. I know some people still do. I mean, unless you're blind, then I get it, but I'm also listening to an audiobook, which I don't remember from the top of my head. Should have just wrote it down. But yeah, so I rarely listen to audiobooks, but I know there's but sometimes I do now and again. I know there's this YouTuber that I do follow, and I know for the most part her book recommendations are very like dark romance. Not as dark as A Mother on My Days. You probably know who I'm on about as soon as I said that, but I tend to know that if I buy this book, I'm probably not gonna, may not necessarily enjoy it, so I just head for the audio book. But this book is not even romance, it's like young adult that she recommended. I thought, you know what, why not? Just why not? So Stephen King, The Long Walk. I've only read 2 chapters in this so far, but I'm really enjoying it. His book has got so many mixed reviews. This is my attempt to try and get into and trying to find another Stephen King book that I like. And I think I've come to the conclusion is when he does kind of like a horror, I'm not a massive fan of it. I prefer his kind of like thriller horror kind of things that are more on the thriller side, but so far I am surprisingly enjoying this one. The Hitchcock Hotel by Stephen Roble. This is pretty average, but basically this guy's obsessed with Hitchcock, and he's got this like hotel and stuff in the kind of like the style of the Hitchcock films and stuff, and yeah, it's kind of like a murder mystery type of story. And then this one, The Bible Book by DK. This one is a really good one if you want to know more about Christianity, but you want, I don't want to say bias, but because when I was reading this, you could tell it wasn't necessary. It's probably more from a like researcher's point of view than a foreign Christian kind of thing, because there's some stuff as a Christian you read and you think, yeah, that's not whatever, or I could expand on it. But if you want to know more, but you feel that you want to learn more from a neutral kind of standpoint, this one's a good one, because it is useful for me as well with explaining the different events and stuff that happen. But as I said, it's definitely more of kind of like a neutral thing. So if you are a Christian, you may want something more that kind of expands, more theological. But other than that, it is a good read. So the audiobook that I'm listening to is That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. I'm really surprisingly enjoying it for a young adult, but I'm not. So it's got 2 narrators. So you've got the female narrator reading the female's point of view, and the male narrator reading the male's point of view. I don't want to go too much because I don't remember the story. I am not a fan of the woman's narrator. I'm very fussy. This is another thing where I don't really read. I don't really listen to audiobooks often because I'm very, very fussy with the sound of people's voice. If I'm not a massive fan of the sound of their voice, then I'm not going to get into the story. I'm still getting into this one because it's not that bad, but I'm not a massive fan of the voice. So I'm reading it on audiobook, or not Audible on Amazon Music. So yeah, that's the only downside. I'm not a massive fan of the voice. Which sounds bad, but so this is like a book that I want to start today, but it's called A Hostage by Guy Delisle. This one I wasn't even looking for. Basically, public libraries are a nightmare. They were having like, so I didn't know, Thursdays, which is today, they have like so they have like coffee, and they take over and they talk and stuff, and I can't, half the time if I'm in a public library, my headphones are on because I can't concentrate when it's so loud in there. So I ended up finding another thing. That's another thing. The library in the city centre, there's hardly any tables, and it's like, what the dickens? Anyway, to this seat in the corner, and it was like opposite like these comics and stuff. And this is where I found this one. But this has a very interesting premise. But basically, this guy gets kidnapped, and it's from his POV in this room, so it seems like a very one of those like claustrophobic kind of reads, if that makes any sense. And just seeing him kind of struggle and go through the emotions and stuff, I thought, you know what, this looks pretty good. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give this one a go. But this is one that I want to start today, hopefully. But yeah, the Hitchcock Hotel, that one's from the library as well. This is actually something to point out, because a lot of Christians don't seem to, for whatever reason, even though it literally says in the book of Revelations, they think they're free from judgment. They're still going to be judged and rewarded accordingly. It's a different type of judgment, because you've passed the judgment while you're going to go into this new heaven and earth. But now we'll see if you deserve a reward or not. It's not like the judgment of if you're going to hell or not, but it's still a judgment, and obviously we want a reward. I've said, God, if I'm worthy of a reward, I want a farm with tons of animals. I'm just saying, every animal that He's created. Sorry, I really like animals, but anyway. Will that ever happen? I have no idea, but I literally want to be in charge of animals. So I finished this one. As I said before, it's definitely on the neutral kind of basis of everything. It's kind of like a start-off book. Like, you don't want to read the Bible, but you want to know more about Christianity. I'd say this one's quite perfect. As I said, it goes into detail. Oh, you may have read the book and you've been the Bible and it's been so confusing and not understanding it. This is a really good one. It's just missing the theological stuff, like there's things like, for example, it brought up like the I can't even remember now. I'm not really a theological buff, but basically it came up with the idea of so it's the Gospel of Judas, I think it is. So it mentions that as saying that, oh, Judas, what he did, it was like Jesus told him to do it, and this kind of nonsense. But it fails to see that that is actually what you call the Gospels, which we don't have or we don't study because we consider them as being heretical, not true, just made up, that kind of situation. But they didn't explain that, which that's a thing. And there's other points where it makes you think, and if you're not that deep into Christianity, then you're maybe left even more confused or whatever, that sort of thing. So it's missing the theological kind of depths in it, but I don't think this is what the purpose. But on that topic of that, I have reserved a book. So DK have done many different kind of things, kind of books like these, and I have reserved the one where it talks about all religions, which would be an interesting one. I think that would be very useful as a Christian to be able to kind of, okay, this is what they believe in. It makes it easier to evangelize. I think I've said it, focus a lot on Islam, and there's other religions out there. And don't get me wrong, it's good to kind of study and find out what they believe in and stuff like that to be able to evangelize. But as I said, there's other people with other religions as well. So we kind of need to kind of reach everyone. So yeah, that'd be an interesting one to read. So I've just finished this one. This one kind of reminds me of those kind of, I'm trying to think. I think it's called Guess Who. I think that's what it's called. I can't remember that actor's name. Like, his face is in my head, but I can't remember his name. But it's like that film where it has different endings, and like there's a body and then there's a crime and they have to guess who murdered the person. It reminds me a bit like this, and a bit like Knives Out, that kind of thing, that mystery. The whole mystery and the unraveling of everything doesn't happen until more than halfway through the book. I did find it enjoyable, but I would say it's like there's nothing special about it. It's like it's a pretty average book. I would love to have had like more detail of what this hotel kind of looked like and stuff. Kind of brush passes that. It goes through the different POVs of the different people that are in this hotel, but the idea is this old schoolmate invites these people to this hotel that is set up, and he's like obsessed with Hitchcock and stuff, and this is like a Hitchcock themed hotel, but it kind of unravels as to the reason why he kind of wanted these, particularly his old like uni, I say uni, this is American, but anyway, his old uni mates to come. But yeah, it's interesting. As I said, it gets very twisty. It gets a lot better like more than halfway through the book, but overall it's kind of average. I wouldn't necessarily buy this copy and reread it or anything like that, so I rate this one like 3 stars. Pretty average, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad. So I kind of get why people may not enjoy this, because it is literally you're just on this journey with them, walking endlessly. I probably enjoy it a lot because I do like walking, not like I've walked to save my own life or to get a prize or anything. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. It's definitely kind of like I would say it's kind of a psychological thriller opposed to like a horror. But as I said, with me and Stephen King, it's like hit and miss. The only books that I've read that I really enjoy is Misery, and the first book with the what's his name, the Wing Slayer, something Slayer series. They did a film, Tao or something, I don't know. The first one in the series I read. I need to carry on reading that series because the first one was really good. I was like, wow, it shocked me as being good. So I think for me, when it comes to Stephen King, I think I prefer his more, I think he writes better, more he's like kind of thriller kind of things, where when it's just like horror. Like I read, like people talk about how what's that film with that cat and the boy, what's it called, Pet Sematary, that is like messed up and everything. I didn't think it was messed up. I really didn't think it was scary though. It didn't really freak me out or anything like that. I just thought it was pretty meh. Same with The Shining, I thought was just so yeah, I've had like hit and miss with Stephen King, but I think when it's like horrors and me, I think for me, I think it's so overhyped. When I do read his book, I'm like, oh, is that it? Like, I expected more. Like, his writing style is very like young adulty, and I think that's the thing. His target audience is more young adult, and for me, it's those rare occasions that I will enjoy a young adult book. So there's that, I think, as well. But yeah, this one I'm really enjoying it. I've not seen the film, but I was hoping to read this and then watch the film. But yeah, this one I'm really enjoying it. As I said, it could just be because I like walking. maybe that's the thing. Maybe there's some kind of what's it with it, relatable. Now I've not walked for like days and weeks, but yeah, maybe that's it. But I do enjoy it. But do say it, that's literally what it is. You're literally walking with them. But yeah, so I took a break from reading because I got inspired, and when I get inspired, it's like a little thing that prods you until you actually do it. So yeah, I did this, Heaven and Hell. To be fair, I think it was that book that I'd finished, the Bible book, because it had a really good representation of, if you follow me, and I don't think I've even sent my initial one here, but it's an example of people going to heaven and then people just casually just going down to hell. But yeah, it's good thinking, so I kind of got inspired to do a heaven and hell kind of thing. So Hostage seems to be a story, like a true life story, which sounds very this is going to be even more kind of like emotional maybe, or more like real feelings of, yeah, this is going to be very interesting. And this is translated as well, so this isn't originally in English. Yeah, I'm gonna guess it was in Russian, or maybe Ukrainian, I don't know. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one, knowing now that it's literally a true story. This is so cute. So most you know that I did the Manchester Marathon for the Christie charity, and they actually did a little certificate, which is so cute. But yeah, okay, I wasn't expecting this. And then hopefully I didn't just show my address, but yeah, basically it's probably just like a thank you, which is much appreciated, because now it's bringing me back to the marathon. But yeah, I was like, oh, it's so cute. This one's a very interesting one. So far, I'm probably going to finish this one today, to be fair. So I've read so far up to page 99, and basically we know nothing about these hostages. All we know is that they're Russian. He doesn't understand Russian. From what I'm getting, he's French. And it looks like they've kidnapped him, but there's no kind of clear motive as to why. It's a bit weird as to why, because they're like, sometimes they'll be like friendly and like, they like get him, he can eat like downstairs and watch TV, or they give him alcohol and stuff. So there's no clear motive. So reading something thinking like, what do they want? This is just very weird, very, very weird. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. But as I said, I'm probably gonna finish this today as well, to be fair. So I'm on chapter 15 on That's Not My Name, by Megan Lally. I don't know how to say her last name, but can I just say, this is like, I don't want to give too much away, but this is why you're supposed to tell the police everything, even if you don't think it could help with the investigation, because it actually does. Because by the sound of it seems like, oh, hang on, because this guy was like a suspect for his girlfriend going missing, and now they know this evidence. It's kind of like, oh, so maybe they now have a reason as to why, like, she just left the car. It's just one of those things where it's like, guys, tell the police everything. Just tell the police literally everything. Like, he told her, but when he told his best friend, I think it's the best friend, or is it her sister, the girl's sister, I think it is. I think something like that. I don't know. At the minute, but when he told her, she was like, oh. And that's the thing, like, just tell everyone the 100% truth. I'm thinking, I've just got my hand on my face and I'm thinking, wow. And then this girl, with this girl's point of view, it's like, now things are going into pieces, and she thinks actually this man may not actually be my dad. I say that this, I'm trying to keep it spoiler free, but to be fair, from the very beginning we kind of know the situation, so it's not really kind of spoiler. I mean, the name of the book, and literally from the very beginning you can just tell. But yeah, so things are now like unfolding. I think I've got like 4 hours and something left. I probably won't finish this one today, just because I'm really, really like into the long walk, and as well with the hostage as well. So yeah, but that one's now excitingly unfolding. So it's currently 4:50. I thought I'd do a little like update on where I'm on the books, because now I'm gonna go and make my evening meal. So a little bit of a break. But on Stephen King, I'm on page 156. I'm actually slightly hopeful I might actually finish this, to be fair, because there's just over 300 pages of this, and they're long chapters, and I read by chapter, so I tend to, the longer the chapters are, I tend to like fly through the book. So yeah, I might be hopeful and I might actually finish this one, because I am really enjoying this. This is a sort of horror where it's not like the obvious gore horror, it's like psychological horror. The fact that these soldiers could just coldly shoot these people is that's the horror. So yeah, this is a really good one. I really enjoy it. I've not felt this amazed by Stephen King book since Gunslinger, the first one anyway. Not read the other Gunslingers, but this one I really enjoy. And then with The Hostage, I'm on page 195. Again, this is like a psychological kind of thriller. I wouldn't necessarily this is a horror, but it does get you wondering as to what is their plan, and seeing in his mind what he's thinking, being locked up most of the time in his room and thinking what is going on, and what mind tricks the brain can kind of do in your head when you're literally isolated from the world. So yeah, so I finished reading this one. This one's really good because it kind of tells you a true story of like what really happens when you're kidnapped. Like, I know that sounds a bit simple, but like we see it a lot in films and stuff, and it's not really realistic, but it's just great to kind of, not great that this has happened, but to be able for him to want to share his story, and you know how he went through what he went through when he was in a hostage situation. It seems like they just wanted money, and the fact that he was a foreigner basically was the idea of why they just kidnapped him. There wasn't no real reason, but in the end, and I say spoiler, but I mean he's writing the book, so I mean like it's his words. Obviously he survived, but he ended up escaping. So yeah, this one's a good one. It's just past 8:30, and it's the first time that I've finished all the books that I've happened to want to read in a reading vlog before. That has never happened. And the last book I finished was Stephen King's The Long Walk. Can I literally just say, I ate this up. I loved this so much, and I think I loved it so much. One, I said earlier, because I like walking. But I like the psychological thing of it all. It's very like psychological kind of thriller horror kind of thing, and I really liked like the tensions between the men that were taking part in this barbaric thing that happens. I see them like completely like break down, and it's really really good. As I said, I can understand why you may not like it, because it's just the same thing kind of over and over again. But if you're someone who likes like the psychological kind of horror, the psychological thriller, that kind of thing, then you will enjoy it, and I really enjoy it. This is so big for me. As I said before, I've never really liked Stephen King. I've only liked the ones that I've read. I've only liked the first book of I said it earlier on and I can't remember now, the Slinger series, Black Tower I think it's called, and Misery. This one, oh my days, this is my top one so far. I really enjoyed it, and I think I've come to the conclusion with Stephen King. I prefer more of his thriller psychological kind of things, opposed to like his full on like horror kind of thing. But yeah, really really enjoyed this one. So it's all the books that I finished in this vlog. So bye guys.